Check, check, check.
Test, test. Okay.
Guess it's going to be a lot with this and my telly. It's kind of a lot. Maybe I'll just wear a telly. Oh, I just had a prayer book, but I put it down. I just had a prayer book. Chag Sameach, everybody. Do you have the
Sameach.
liturgy memorized, or do you want prayer books? Because we are going to actually use a few of those.
Yes. So if you haven't yet, you want the big thick ones that are on the cart, not the ones that say Shabbat.
For sure. 394 is Baruch. Are we making kiddush? Okay. Oh. Okay. Chag Sameach! I can't believe we're at graduation, but we are. But we're also at Shavuot. So before we get to graduation, let's do a little singing. It was a pretty beautiful, beautiful day today, right? It was a good one. So this is the melody for springtime, for Shavuot, for flowers in bloom, and for our, they used to be babies, but now they're all grown up children. Ooh, man. Ooh, but it's just the deal. So you got to deal with it, mama. So sweet, so flowery. Now you're gonna sing with me. Try. You sound good. Yes. Welcome.
Welcome. Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
There's something really sweet about the fact that we're doing this on Shavuot. Now, the history, as you know, is that we normally do this on Friday, but being the schedules that we have and the importance of having all of our graduates here, we had to shift it around and be a little bit creative scheduling-wise to make sure that we could find a date that would work for everyone. And you may or may not know, but for many congregations, Shavuot is the time when they actually do confirmation. Now, we don't do that. We find a date that works afterwards when religious school is done, and we choose not to specifically associate Shavuot with confirmation so that, unlike other congregations whose main service is confirmation on Shavuot, we're able to participate in the Tikkun, which we did last night, which is basically a Jewish learning conference, which happens each and every Shavuot, multiple classes going on. But I do always love the symbolism about the fact that this is Chag Matan Torah, the holiday of the giving of the Torah. And there's something to be said about the fact that graduation, in a way, is almost like a reacceptance of that gift that you all, as parents, gave to your children, saying, we have this 3,000-year-old beautiful tradition. I'm going to educate you in it. Do with it as you want and run with it. And these 7 amazing individuals have done just that over their many years here at religious school. They have taken this gift and they have run with it. And in a way, tonight, they are going to celebrate the fact that they've been steeped in the learning of Torah, in the learning of mitzvot, in the learning of Jewish ethics, and building community among themselves for as long as they've been a part of this community. And we're going to get a chance, Rabbi Litwin and I, to address them later, to talk about what their futures might look like and what the present moment holds. But tonight we're in for a treat, as each of these 7 reflect on the prompt that we gave them, which is basically, as you leave here today, who are some of the people, events, and ideas that you're going to be taking with you? And some focus more on people, some focus more on events, some focus more on ideas. But each one understands that there's a piece of what they've had here that will forever stay with them, even as they go off to college and well beyond. And so we're going to welcome in our second day of Shavuot as we prepare to light our candles and to sanctify our wine. We're on page 386.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'hadlik ner shel yom tov.
Amen.
Turn the page for
Amen.
the Kiddush on the following page, page 386. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ham, v'ramamanu mikol lashon, v'kiddishanu b'mitzvotav, v'atiten lanu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava, moadim l'simcha, chagim uzmanim l'sason. Et yom chag hashavuot hazeh, zman simchatenu, mikra kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim, ki yivanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, umoadei kodshecha b'simcha uv'sason hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh Yisrael, Behazmanim.
Amen. Chaim. Rise if you are able as we prepare for our call. Baruch. Repeat after me.
Baruch
Dear one.
Shekhinah,
Holy name.
holy name,
Baruch. Dear one.
Shekhinah,
Holy name.
holy
As I
name.
pour out the light of my soul, as I call out the light of my soul, I come home. Sing it with us. Here we go. As I call out the light of my soul, לעולם ועד. ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. You may be seated.
On page 296, a special interpretive prayer for this. Roll into dark, roll into light.
And if you teach in our religious school, especially on Sundays, then you know that there are some hand motions to this as well. Do any of you know that? No? All right. Oh well. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light.
Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, This evening, we're going to have two sets of speakers, first 3 students and then 4. And for our first speaker, I'd like to call up Ava.
I was one of the only Jewish students in my kindergarten class. One day, I came home and told my parents that the 2 most important people in the world were God and Jesus, because I had heard a classmate say this. When my parents explained their perspective on Jesus, I doubled down and said I must be the only Jew to care for Jesus. I didn't understand what that meant, of course. I was just repeating what I heard at school. When I was in 1st grade, once again, I was one of the only Jewish students in my class. When my parents found out, they requested that I be placed in a 2nd grade class with some other Jewish kids. The next year, all 6 of the Jewish kids in my grade were placed in the same class. That was the year I started Hebrew school at Ner Tamid. I loved being with other Jewish kids who shared my traditions, holidays, and culture. Looking back at this time, I feel so grateful for the community that I found here. I made new friends and grew closer with ones that I already had. We all went through the mitzvah process, went on trips, and did our confirmation together. I not only learned Hebrew prayers and Jewish history, but I was able to learn these things in an environment that encouraged me to embrace my identity and feel close to my community. I realized the importance of having a community in which you feel a sense of belonging and connection to your heritage. Being a part of Ner Tamid has instilled a strong sense of desire to always find and be a part of my local Jewish community, no matter where I go. It inspired me to go to weekly events at the Chabad at the school where I did my summer program last year. And as I prepare to graduate and enter college at Northeastern University, I am planning to be active in my school's Hillel and Chabad. Because of all the lessons that Ner Tamid has taught me over the years and the sense of belonging and acceptance that I've experienced, I feel ready to bring my Jewish faith with me into the next phase of my life.
Our next speaker is Hannah Soreski.
Good evening, everyone. As my time at Hebrew School comes to a close, I've been reflecting on the ways in which growing up at Ner Tamid has been an experience filled with so much joy and love from this community. Over the years, there have been many specific highlights at TNT, including the synagogue project way back in 4th grade, having my bat mitzvah both here and in Israel in middle school, and going on an awesome field trip to New York City in high school. However, one of the things that will stick with me the most from Hebrew School comes from our weekly classes on Wednesday nights. What I value the most from these classes was not necessarily the topics we covered each class, but the ways in which we were taught these topics and we discussed them. Here at TNT, we are always encouraged to question the world around us. We questioned the complex history of the Jewish people, questioned the way things were written in the Torah, and questioned what it means to be Jewish in today's world. During this school year, now more than ever, as we discussed history and current events that are happening in the Middle East, we were encouraged to ask deep questions and think critically about our community. I think that this is a prized practice, especially at a time when the outside world is not always willing to engage in such discussions. The value of asking critical questions is something that I will surely take to college and beyond when forming my own opinions. My positive experience at Hebrew School is also a reflection of the work that others put into making it such a special place. I'm so appreciative to all my classmates and friends who make coming to Hebrew School so much fun. And I also want to say thank you to Rick, all the teachers, the rabbi, the cantor, and Ronnie, and to all the other staff at TNT who make Hebrew School possible. So grateful for my time here, and I can't wait to stop by when I'm home from college.
Our final speaker in this round is Hannah Furtick.
My earliest memories of Temple Ner Tamid are at Shoresh Preschool. I remember making beaded bracelets, chatting with Sarah, who I'm graduating with now, and making projects from popsicle sticks and finger paint. However, the little girl I was when I first stepped foot in this temple has come a long way. Temple Ner Tamid made up a significant portion of my life, so naturally I have infinite fond memories of the people and experiences I had here. However, if I had to pick, the Amsterdam trip was definitely the most memorable moment of my time here. I will always remember Amsterdam. I'm so glad I decided to attend because it was such a beautiful opportunity to connect with both my friends and my own Judaism. I loved interacting with the Dutch Jewish community, especially when we attended a service at the local temple. It was amazing to see the effective community that Judaism has all over the world. We were there singing the same prayers, connecting with people across the ocean, and I've never felt more connected to my faith. Also, while we were there, the rich history of the Sephardic Jews in Amsterdam opened my eyes to how much I still have to learn about the Jewish faith. I learned so much about the history of the Holocaust and the formation of the Jewish communities in Amsterdam. I knew almost nothing about Dutch Jews before I came, and I left with the feeling that I had to do more research on Jews throughout the rest of the world. I intend to find out more about the culture of my people as I continue my social and academic journey. Thanks to Temple Near Tamid, the community I found in Amsterdam showed me that being Jewish doesn't have to be a completely individual experience, but rather a universal language that connects people all over the globe. I'm going to miss the community I found here in New Jersey, but I know I still have so much community left to discover.
We're going to turn now, we're on page 398, Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, שוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקך, נצמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו לאורך ימינו, לאורך ימינו, ובהם נגן יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך לתסיר, אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר אוהב עמו ישראל.
Page 400.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. Before we move to our next prayer, we're going to hear now from 4 more students. And for our first of this set, I'd like to call up Felicia.
Sorry, I'm a little shorter. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Hi, everyone.
As my time as a student at Temple Near to Mead comes to a close, I am left looking back on all of the incredible experiences I have had over the years and all that I will be carrying with me in my future. I first came to religious school over 10 years ago, and I cannot lie in saying that I was less than thrilled. I used to view being Jewish as something that made me an outcast from everyone else, feeling alone when I didn't celebrate the same holidays as everyone else, and not understanding why many of my school friends did not spend their Wednesdays and Sundays learning Hebrew like me. I used to think it made me excluded from others, but I could not have been more wrong. Being at TNT has made me realize that being Jewish is so much more valuable than 6-year-old me could ever understand. TNT has always been a place where I feel included. Whether through my peers or my teachers, I always feel like I belong. I may not be the most knowledgeable person when it comes to the Torah or Jewish culture, but what I do know for certain is that the Jewish ideals that come from our history have helped me discover who I am and the kind of person I want to be. Some of the most valuable lessons I have learned have surrounded the importance of honesty, understanding, and compassion. Whether it was turning my Torah portion about a lampstead into a discussion about redemption, or looking at how old Jewish texts permit abortion rights, there was always some sort of moral lesson to be learned within our studies. At confirmation 2 years ago, I discussed how the community that Judaism, particularly at TNT, provides is one of the most enticing reasons why I love being Jewish. TNT is made up of varying individuals from all over that have united together to create a welcoming, diverse community. There is always someone to talk to and new people to meet. Every year, I always look forward to High Holy Day services because I know I will get to see all of those familiar faces at the same time. TNT has strengthened my ability to talk to people that are not my age and go outside of my comfort zone. But finally, the most important people I will be taking with me are the 6 other girls that are up here with me today. Hebrew school has brought us all together through thick and thin for so long and created friendships where, without TNT, may never have formed. To Ava, Hannah, and Sarah, I'm so grateful that being at TNT has brought me closer with you, even if we don't go to school together. You've helped me to learn that valuable friendships can withhold the damage of time, allowing us to always pick up from where we left off, even if months had gone by. To Lila, Hannah, and Lexi, my oldest friends, I thank Hebrew School for keeping us together all these years. We are all so different in many ways, yet being here at TNT has banded us together for all of this time. You are also special and important to me, and I know we will be lifelong friends because of our TNT connection. All 6 of you are one of my favorite parts about coming to Hebrew School all of these years and are the most important takeaway I have as we embark on our next journeys. My Jewish identity is tied to you all, and I'm so incredibly grateful for all that I've learned through you and my TNT community and teachers. TNT has shaped me in many ways, and I know these lessons will always be with me. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Lila.
It's going to be hard to follow that. Good evening. I have always valued my TNT friendships. Many of us go way back all the way to preschool. These relationships have made the decision to come back to Hebrew school after my bat mitzvah easy. My friends were going. But I quickly learned there was much more I valued about continuing my Jewish education. I have loved having small group discussions in class about what it meant to be a Jewish teenager and being able to relate to my peers on a deeper level through our shared experiences. Studying for confirmation has helped me to acknowledge my reasons for being a practicing Jew and answer important questions. What do I value? What do I believe in? When I was younger, I didn't have a choice. I was born and raised as a Jew. I didn't know what being Jewish meant to me. As I have continued my education, I explored what it meant to be a Jew in today's world, which in the past year has been complicated and even scary. Still, as I reflected during my confirmation speech, what I value most and find at TNT are community and tradition. I love being a part of something bigger than myself and having a set community to fall back on, especially in times where being Jewish can be polarizing. I plan to continue my Jewish education at college through Hillel and Judaic studies classes. I want to find a community where I can continue having important conversations about Judaism and make big, unfamiliar places seems smaller by finding my college Jewish community, although nothing will compare to TNT.
Our next speaker is Sarah.
Hello, everyone. Mine's not printed, so oh well. Okay. Reflecting back on my time at Temple Ner Tamid, my experiences here have shaped my Jewish identity in many different ways. Starting with Shoresh, when I was 2 years old, I learned Jewish music and traditions, and I made my first Jewish friend, and my first friend, Hannah, who is graduating with me now. My favorite possession is the photo album I got from Shoresh, where it shows all of us like eating fake matzah and like learning all the traditions and fake snow. It was just such a good time. And then Hebrew school, I gained a deeper understanding of Judaism, the traditions, and then learning how to read Hebrew. That was really cool. Sorry, I lost my place. The excitement of participating in the Purim spiels when I was the youngest one, when I was younger, was a lot of fun. That was one of my good memories. And then, okay, these experiences taught me the value of tradition and how it can be displayed with creativity and joy, creating lasting memories that strengthen my connection to being Jewish. And then what I really wanted to talk about was my bat mitzvah, how that stands out as a pivotal moment in my Jewish identity and becoming an adult within the Jewish community. I remember preparing for the ceremony every week and, well, a lot of times a week, and how that became a big responsibility and commitment to being Jewish. And then also the class trip to Amsterdam was a great time. I do plan to carry on my Judaism in college as part of Hillel. And yeah, I'm really excited and I'm very glad I continued Hebrew school. Thank you.
Our final speaker will be Lexi.
This is a bit longer. He put me last on purpose. Not anymore. Now I have no pen. As we have all stood up in front of you tonight, for most of us, this is our third time delivering a speech to the congregation. When we became bar bat mitzvah, or bat mitzvah for all of us, and celebrated our confirmation, and again tonight. When I've shared this fact with some of my other friends, including my other Jewish friends, many of them were surprised. In fact, many of them didn't even know there was another thing following a bat mitzvah celebration. So you can imagine their heightened surprise when I informed them that I chose to continue this for an additional 5 years. Part of what has made my religious school experience so meaningful, particularly over the past 5 years, is the fact that the people I'm surrounded by are all individuals who have also chosen to be here. Learning in an environment with peers who are equally engaged in the material has made my experience so much more significant and has helped me to further develop my Jewish identity. Over the course of several years and several teachers and classes, we have talked a lot about Jewish identity. This is why I chose to continue religious school, to further explore this identity, with the hopes of finding out what it really meant to me. Growing alongside this congregation, I have learned that for me, my identity is based entirely on community. When I think of being Jewish, I think of Ner Tamid. I think of attending Friday night services with my family, of carpooling with my friends to Hebrew school, and of course, rehearsing tirelessly for the Purim spiel. When I picture Ner Tamid, I don't picture the place, but I picture people's faces. I picture my classmates, my family and friends, and my teachers. The people make this place what it is, and they have all taught me the importance of a strong community. As I prepare to leave for college, I'm also preparing to find a different community. At TNT, having a community means having people that love you and support you and are there to fall back on, like Lila said. While finding my footing in a brand new place, finding this type of community will be equally as important. For me, that brand new place is Emerson College. So as many of you may know from the news and etc., this may prove to be a greater challenge than I originally anticipated. Luckily, Ner Tamid has also taught me that Ner Tamid has also taught me that community can be found all over, despite each one of them having their own unique qualities. Outreach events, service trip, and learning in the Hebrew school for so many years have all served as a reminder to me that there are so many people out there just waiting for the chance to connect, a chance to form a new relationship that could bring you closer to building a community and being part of theirs. And while I'm excited to work to find that new support group to lean on for the next few years, I know I will always find comfort in coming back to my home community here.
We're going to move forward, page 406, Michamocha. It's the prayer, by the way, of redemption, the prayer of freedom, the prayer that the world that is broken might someday get a little bit better. And hearing these 7 speeches definitely makes me feel like even in this broken world, there are some individuals out there who are going to make this just a little bit better. We're on page 406.
Let's sing from the beginning, Michamocha. חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Page 408.
Na na na, na 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 na.
In a moment, we're going to move into our silent Amidah. And on specific holidays, there's a special line that we say that eases us into it, which you can find on page 411. And so we'll chant that moving into Adonai Sefatai, and then we'll continue in silence, praying either the traditional words or the words that are on the page. You'll jump forward to page 468, so keep your finger on that page through page 492. We rise together.
וידבר משה את מועדי אדוני אל בני ישראל.
Page 468.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי יגיד תהילתך. Together. אדוני As you've gotten to know us over all of these years, women, we've gotten to see your consistencies. One thing that has always been so consistent among all of you is a deep kind of kindness. Just all really gentle and kind humans. And I think that that makes it a little easier. Rabbi said, helps us feel some peace. We've got, in the future, you're going to take good care of us. Well, you each understand what chesed is, and that's a big part of it. You'll teach us how to build the world from chesed, because we need to learn. Olam chesed yibaneh.
Short. So I only got to meet you guys, or you girls, just 2 years ago. And I remember coming into your class with Avi, and you all went around and introduced yourself, and there was a connection, because I grew up in Teaneck, and there was a Teaneck connection over here, and there was a connection because I had worked in Temple, Israel, where Nancy grew up, and there was like all these things that your family is all connected somehow to mine, or to my experience, and it was sweet. And also, you like shared a whole lot of yourselves with me. I got to go with some of you into New York City. We saw, I just forgot the name of the show, no, it wasn't Prayer for the French Republic. It was Leopoldstadt. Yes, thank you. I don't know why I couldn't get that in my head. Thank you. And that was also a really beautiful experience seeing that. And it was kind of life altering to understand what went on in the mind of that particular family at Leopoldstadt. But I was thinking about also how I started college. And the year I started college was the year of the signing of the Oslo Accords. And so that was 1993. And it was a really amazingly hopeful time to be a Jew and to be pro-Israel. And I was thinking about how that experience that I had, and that probably a lot of your parents had, because I think we're all approximately-ish in the same generation. I have a daughter in college now, so I think probably it's around then, that we experienced college life in a completely different way than what you're about to walk into. And that sense of hope and positivity allowed me to be in a Jewish-Muslim dialogue group with other people on my campus in St. Louis. And it allowed me to take on leadership in our student government and to be like the Jewish representative to the student government and help to make decisions about how students spent money on campus. And all of those kind of positive experiences led me down the path that I'm on now. And I kind of hope for you that the next few years, maybe just we could take a deep breath, calm down a little bit on campus so that the opportunities that you get to have won't be about fighting for your Jewish identity or fighting for Israel, but again, instead, standing up to be proud of all the things that you got from being here at Ner Tamid, from the community that you formed with each other and with all that your parents formed and with the whole rest of everybody else who's a part of this community, and that you'll take that with you and all the positive feelings that you have felt here and be able to build that kind of joy and hope on your campus wherever you are, and that you'll be able to connect to the other people who want to do that like that with you. Because I think that's who you are. You know, that's what you all said, basically, is that's what you hope to be. And so that's like what I was thinking about as I was like trying to figure out what to say today, is that came easy when I was in college. And I hope that it gets easier for you, and that the uniqueness of each of you and the things you bring from your experiences here enable that to come to your campuses. And that would be sort of my prayer. The other thing I was going to say, actually, there's two. One is that a really good way to make sure that you stay grounded in something that you've done here in the past is just to take a class in the Jewish Studies department, wherever you are. You know, so there will be something. There'll be an Intro to Judaism class, and you'll think, oh, that's an easy A, and it won't be. Because it will be different texts, and it will be different reading, and it will be different writing than you've ever seen before. But it might challenge you, and it might expose you to things that you didn't get to learn while you were here at Ner Tamid. Or take a Hebrew class. Or really go big or go home. If you need to earn some money, be a religious school teacher. Because as a religious school director, I can tell you I love to hire college students. Okay? And you all know enough to teach kindergarten or third grade or something like that, because you've gotten a foundation here. And if you have a question, you also know how to find me, and you know how to email all of us, and we can help you, whether that's that Intro to Judaism class or a Hebrew class or teaching or anything else. You have that opportunity to do all those kinds of things because you've gotten those skills by being part of this community. So I wish you only like amazing successes on all your campuses. Wherever you go, keep learning, keep dreaming, keep standing strong in your identity. And to all of your parents, Mazel Tov. I know how it feels because I just had a graduate a couple years ago, how crazy it is that they're going out into the world and you think, did I do all the things to launch them? Well, as you probably know, they all come home. And you'll keep launching them, and they'll keep launching you as we go. And so I wish you all Mazel Tov and congratulations on getting to this stage in your children's lives.
So your class is a really special class to me. Your class was the first class that in totality, I got a chance to celebrate each of your bat mitzvahs. Last year, I got the fall people, but the spring people were still under Rabbi Kushner. But it was you guys that I got to know as my first real B'nai Mitzvah class. And then I got the privilege of teaching you during confirmation. And we had a very different journey, right? Some of the 7 of you went to Amsterdam with me. Some of the 7 of you didn't, because we were all supposed to go. And then the Omicron variant came about, and we, to be safe, had to cancel. But I often think about the cumulative experience that we had. And it was that trip to New York City that we went on. And I'm going to say a word about that. But before I do, I want to contrast it a little bit with, similar actually to what Rabbi Litwin was speaking about. She talked about this kind of great hope of the Oslo Accords in like the early to mid 90s when she went off to college. And when I went off to college, my senior year in high school was 2001. And so the definitive moment of my senior year was 9/11. And I think often about this, and I spoke about this actually, unfortunately, last year when their graduating class was up, in part because I thought the firebombing was going to be this definitive Jewish moment for them. This is a lot worse. This is a lot bigger. This is a lot meatier. This is a lot more complicated. And this war in Gaza is going to be a defining moment in your Jewish identity in the same way that 9/11 was a defining moment in my identity as a senior going off to college. And in fact, because of that, because of rising anti-Semitism, because of how complicated things are in the world, the gift that we chose to give you this year is actually probably the #1 best-selling book in the Jewish world right now. It's Noah Tishby's book, Uncomfortable Conversations with a Jew. Now, some of you have probably read her book on Israel, and if you haven't, it's really worth it. It's the best single primer that's under 300 pages on Israel. But her new book, if you flip through it, is a lot on this current moment. It's a lot on anti-Semitism. It's a lot on how complicated things are. And it's the way that you are walking through this world right now. It's the Instagrams that you're seeing. It's the people that you're going to talk to in college. It's the news that you're reading and that you're watching. And I want to contrast that, apropos of what Rabbi Litwin said, and we didn't check with each other exactly what we were saying, so there's going to be a theme, with the trip that we took to New York City. Because ultimately, that trip was themed about Judaism. But what was it? It was a trip to the Lower East Side to walk around and take first a Jewish food tour as we visited old synagogues that were no more. Then it was going up to Broadway and watching an off-Broadway show, A Prayer for the French Republic, which was actually the only thing that we did that weekend that was themed for anti-Semitism. But nevertheless, it was also Jewish culture finding its way into mainstream New York culture, being an off-Broadway show. It was going to the Met and giving you a scavenger hunt, which I'm sure none of you did, to go and look for all of the different Jewish art and Jewish themed art that was in the Met, along with the Dutch art that we kind of weren't going to get to see that year. And then the next day, waking up and going to Crown Heights and walking around with an ultra-Orthodox Jew to learn about the history and the culture of what Orthodoxy means in Crown Heights. And all of that put together means that Judaism is this amazing, rich tapestry that is so much more than the themes that are in An Uncomfortable Conversation with a Jew. It's so much more than the stuff that you're reading about in the news. It's so much more than the things that we're thinking about, even though it's occupying so much of the air. And honestly, if Judaism is simply about anti-Semitism and standing up to it, and honestly, if it's simply about Israel and standing for it, Judaism is a poor religion. You need to be so much more. What does an uncomfortable conversation with a Jew look like? In a perfect world, it's those things, but it's also really struggling to figure out what you believe about God. It's also really trying to fit in Jewish practice and learning how it is that as you're raising a family, you can both light candles on Friday night and make sure your kid is enrolled in soccer. Uncomfortable conversations with a Jew is balancing out how many Jewish friends you have with non-Jewish friends, making sure that you have a foot in the wider world, but at the same time, making sure you're building a really good community on your own. Uncomfortable conversations with a Jew is pushing your rabbi when you think that their sermons aren't meaty enough, and having the courage to say, look, I need to come here for some kind of intellectual substance. I need that. And shopping around for a synagogue that will give that to you. And so I hope that in addition to all the nuance and the challenge that this moment calls for, that you figure out how to flesh out your Judaism to be so much bigger than that. Remember that trip and remember how multifaceted it was. There's lots of doors open for you in Judaism. And the key is to spend your life picking the locks of those doors, to find the right one that swings open and that you walk through for a life of purpose and meaning. And so we're going to give you guys a blessing and we're going to give you the gifts. And so come on up to the front as we call each of you up.
Sure. All right, Felicia, you're our first one. Thanks. Wait, I want to shake your hand. Just care, come stand with you. It's Ava. Mazel tov. Lila. Hannah Fertig. Congratulations. Sarah. Lexi. Yep. And Hannah Sareski.
So if you want to turn around, we're going to call up all of our clergy. Kendra Greenberg, Clergy Associate Ronnie Pressman. We're going to invite everybody to rise. Come on forward.
Yeah, come on up here. Come closer. You like each other, so that's good.
Yeah, really. No kidding. Here we go.
May God bless you and may God protect you.
May God always shine upon you and give you grace.
May God always smile upon you, granting you a life of wholeness and peace.
May it be God's will, and let us all say
Amen. And we sing together.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov siman tov. Siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov siman tov. Siman tov u'mazel tov u'mazel tov siman tov. Ye'elanu. Ye'elanu, Ye'elanu, u'lechol Yisrael. Ye'elanu, Ye'elanu, u'lechol Yisrael. Ye'elanu, Ye'elanu, u'lechol Yisrael. Ye'elanu, Ye'elanu, u'lechol Yisrael. So we're going to remain standing as we turn to page 586 for Elena.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tet gedula leotzer breshid, shelo asanu kigoye haratzot, v'lo samanu kamishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו, ושמו, ושמו echad.
Turning to page 598, we think of those who we've loved and who we've lost. As my eyes go around the room, I'll invite you to share names of people for whom you're thinking. We join together. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach hirateh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uvyom echon uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam omei almaya, yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitnormam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudashah barechu. Le'elam min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram b'yama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu ve'orcho Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav, uya'aseh shalom, alenu ve'orcho Yisrael, v'imru. Be seated together.
So I forgot to mention, and I should, that Wendy Starr, who is our assistant director and who's been working with teens all this year, has left already for camp, but is watching us. And she texted me in particular to make sure that there's, Wendy can't see, Wendy, you can't see them, but they're giving you hearts.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure I added that because she specifically asked me to tell you that she's here with you in spirit, even though not here in presence.
So we're going to conclude with a nagun, a wordless melody, similar to what we had sung before. And then afterwards, we'll invite you out. This is the dairy holiday. And so we've got lots of dairy for us to eat together to celebrate you. And I want to thank the parents who have sponsored tonight and who have made this dairy feast possible. And so thank you to the parents of our graduates who made tonight possible. I want to introduce also, if you haven't met Allison, she's in the back as well. Allison is our new administrator for our religious school and thank you for making tonight possible and tonight happen.
We're actually going to end with the words Chag Sameach, Chag Sameach, your turn.
Chag Sameach, Chag Sameach.
Shiru, 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 Chag Sameach. Shiru, 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 Chag Sameach. One more time, Chag Sameach, Chag Sameach. Chag Sameach, Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov to
Congratulations.
you, to all the families.
And go eat some dairy.
Let's go eat some milk.